I call the 1593rd meeting of the General Suits Senate and the 20th meeting of the 46th Senate. Notice that this meeting is being broadcast via Zoom and the recording will be publicly available on YouTube. Now I will read the land acknowledgement. The University of Maine recognizes that it is located on Marsh Island in the homeland of the Penobscot Nation, where issues of water and territorial rights and encroachment upon sacred sites are ongoing. Penobscot homeland is connected to the other Wabanaki tribal nations, the Passamaquoddy, Maliseet, Mi'kmaq, through kinship, alliances, and diplomacy. The university also recognizes that the Penobscot Nation and other Wabanaki tribal nations are distinct, sovereign, legal, and political entities with their own powers of self-governance and self-determination. Will the clerk now please call the roll? Keegan Trim.
Here.
Cynthia Shelmerdine. Here. Joshua Ball.
Here.
Dylan Lehman.
Here.
Jordan Thompson.
Here.
Nate Bennett.
Here.
Jason Leclerc. Excused. Zoe Stankovitz. Here. Olivia Britt.
Excused.
Ezra Erica.
Here.
Kyle Ricker. Greg Vanderwood.
Here.
Ezekiel Delorme.
Here.
Ryan St. Lawrence.
Here.
Dennis Stewart. Joseph Elliott.
Here.
Riley St. Pierre.
Here.
Casper Cowan.
Here.
Briar Chapin.
Here.
Ty Whitehead.
Here.
Elena Dana. Here. Guy Van Beek. Here. Isabella Lamberton. Here. Kayla Kearns. Peyton Warren.
Here.
Christian Morrow Morgan.
Here.
Jeremy Collmore.
Here.
Zachary Zalal.
Here.
Ethan Pratty.
Here.
Hazel Sparks. Here. Alan Villette.
Here.
Taylor Stanford. Here. Haley Inman. Here. Marissa Schultz. Jonathan Harper.
Here.
Lauren DePoe. Excuse. Kenzie Parkinson. Here. Isabella Bank. Sorry. Alex Emery.
Here.
Jackson Gamble. Here. Here. Okay.
Here.
Lori Sidalco. Here. That's all. I'm now looking for approval of the 09/30/2025 minutes to the superintendent. Senator Lawrence.
I'm good for the 9/30/2025 minutes.
Second. Hearing a second, if that's what under consent, that is adopted. Now moving on to general good and welfare, where any non-member may address the GSF for no more than 5 minutes. Do we have any speakers? Seeing none, moving on to Robert's rules tip of the week. Always address your comments to the chair, not to other members. This keeps discussion orderly and prevents crosstalk or arguments. For example, instead of saying, "You're wrong about that," say, "Madam Chair, I disagree with the previous statement because," etc. All right. And seeing nothing under new senators, officer appointments and resignations, will now be moving on to club maintenance, starting with the preliminary recognition of Arm Wrestling Club. If you'd like to come up to the podium and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well this evening. I did not come with a lot of preparation because we got one email telling us that all we were supposed to do is answer a few questions, so don't have any slides or anything like that. We are trying to start an arm wrestling club here on campus. Arm wrestling, for those who don't know, is a sport, and it's pretty big in northeastern United States. It's even bigger than Canada. It's really a Canadian sport. It's growing in popularity, and there's actually an off-campus club that my friend here, Noble, and I have been pulling with for a couple of years now. And we go down to New England and we compete in tournaments. There's a whole tournament system up and down the East Coast that we go and pull in. We'll have hundreds of people line up, like B-dubs, and they'll have tables there. It's a great time. Anyways, the club disbanded, I think, around 6 months ago. And we wanted to keep the energy going. So we thought it would be a really good idea to try to recruit and start a new club here on campus. So we, through the vet center, Noble's an officer in the vet center, he was able to get approval for several vets. We went to the Walmart fair, I think it was, and we set up a table. We pulled probably 100 people there that day. Got a whole bunch of people interested. And after that, we were able to segue that into weekly events every Sunday. Set up a few tables, it'd be like a little picnic, and people would come, and we've done about 5 now. We've got to the point where we're consistently attracting about 20 to 30 regulars to these practices. And we have people, a few, mostly students, but we have a few people coming from off campus, from the old club to help teach and model them through. We're more professional, that's very familiar with safety guidelines and how to keep everything in line. And so we do these gatherings, have a great time, pretty fall, we'll get 20, 30 people, like I was saying. We have a Discord with 40 to 50 members now, 80% or more of which are undergraduate students. And we are looking for formal recognition as a club. We'd like to make this something a little bit more permanent, and we would like to bring sport commerce to the Maine campus officially.
Great. Are there any questions for our speakers? Senator Moore?
Do you foresee asking funding from student government? Sorry, do you foresee asking for funding from student government for events and?
Not for events, there's one thing that we would like to fund in particular, a very small amount, would probably like to get a couple tables on campus, because right now, we have members from off campus who are bringing the tables in. We're using our own tables. It'd be nice to have 1 or 2 on campus, which is probably go in the order of $200.
Are there any more questions for our speakers? VP Fang?
Do you guys have waivers for new members?
Yeah, we have them, so, yeah, we have like, we're all, we have a bunch of signed, yeah.
The
Do you want them?
Madam Chair, may I answer that? I don't personally need them, but I think, I mean, the VPSO can comment, I think CSI might appreciate having a copy of those, so they know what.
so is it Trevor or who's the Sean?
Used to be our faculty advisor.
So our faculty advisor is Sean Amara, who's speaking.
So Sean's our attorney.
Okay. We live with Sean.
Great.
Yeah, all questions about the waiver. Yeah, we live with Sean, he made us the waiver, we're working directly with him on a day-to-day basis. She's having one.
Are there any more questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
400 ought to pass.
Senator Moore?
I move to approve the committee recommendation.
Second. Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. Seeing none, debate. President Tripp?
I think this sounds really cool. I'm excited. You said over 100 signups.
We have 40 to 50 members in the Discord, and we have about 20 to 30 people regularly coming to UMaine Hall. And yeah, we'd like to be doing it weekly, be able to establish events of full capacity, so you'll get a
We've
lot
had
of.
over hundreds of people come in full.
Oh, and yeah, the involvement
Committed
fair,
events.
at the involvement fair, we had probably, oh man. Our table had a line of 15 people, like all day long.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think this is great. And if obviously Sean signs off on it, I think our bases are covered. Awesome.
Thank you.
Any more points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Next, for preliminary recognition, I'd like to invite up the UMaine Political Science Student Association.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nathan Devaney. I'm here trying to start a University of Maine Political Science Student Association. We've been working on this for a few weeks now, since I've started talking to Professor Brewer, the head of the poli-sci department. And he ran it by the faculty before I even got started, and told me about all of the interests that was from them in helping us with this. And throughout the process, they've all been helping me every step of the way with a lot of things, with getting forms out to students and things like that. Around 3 weeks ago, we sent out an interest form, just trying to see if we would actually be able to get people to show up. Not excluding the people who actually ended up being executives in the club with me. We got about 23 responses. When last week we sent out a when to meet form with a few times that we thought we could make work. Still got 19 responses. So I was glad that we managed to maintain some interest. Unfortunately, we haven't had the ability to hold our first meeting yet. We're gonna try this week, but there were some last second scheduling issues that we managed to resolve, but it did slow everything down for a week. Professor La Rochelle over in the poli sci department agreed to be our advisor. And so we really hope that the university, the Political Science Student Association can actually bring the students in our political science department together and provide support to them through figuring out their career options once they leave UMaine and putting on a lot of events so that they see all of what political science has to offer.
Great. Are there any questions for our speaker? President Tripp?
Have you had at least an informal meeting of the organization?
We've had informal meetings with just the executives. Unfortunately, this week was meant to be the first meeting, but the vice president, Brenda Dissy, the time that we all thought was going to work ended up not working. So we had to change it.
Any more questions? Senator Ricker?
What time do you see? What day is it?
Lucky for you, not Tuesday. Yeah, you were, unfortunately, Tuesday wasn't the original one, but it didn't work out for you at the end with the, since Tuesday is no longer an option. Based off the last discussion, looks like Monday, 7th, 8th, so that, people like, Ben, who's our treasurer, can make it after, maintenance. Since we don't want to encroach upon, we're trying to avoid encroaching upon, the sorts of clubs meeting times that big political science students are already gonna be in. Cause obviously, we don't wanna fight an existing club for their members' time.
Any more questions? Maybe Bong?
How many people can show up to the meeting next week?
How many people can? I mean, it depends on the space, we end up getting, to be totally frank, I'm not exactly sure what space we'll be in. Professor Brewer and Professor La Rochelle, when I spoke to them, both made sure I understood that so long as there were no classes going on, it would be very possible for us to meet in Gaudreau. But our hopeful meeting spot will be the Cohen Institute Lab in Gaudreau Hall, because it's has things like a TV and it's just generally a good meeting space. When I spoke with Professor Brewer about that, he said that spaces that the political science department has some control of, so long as there are no courses there, we can work to get that space. But there is obviously, if a space we use is too small or too large, we'll change the space. But we'll work to try and change the space.
Senator Cowan?
Of the people that filled out the when to meet, what was like the most amount of people that can meet at one time?
The most amount of people that can be at 12. But that was not for that time, the time we ended up selecting, unfortunately, because that is Monday 6 to 7. It was that, and Tuesday 6 to 7 were our most popular times. Or Monday 5 to 6. I'm sorry, I'm a little inaccurate there. But those times, Monday 5 through 7 were a little awkward in terms of the I have a member of the UMaine French Club, which means from 5 to 6. So if I could avoid it, I was trying to avoid that time. And we were also trying to avoid the main Dems meeting time, which is 5:30 to 6:30 on Mondays. So what we settled on, we settled on 7 to 8, which received 9 responses, which would get us, including the executive people, 13 members who I am aware can show up.
Any more questions for our speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
4-0-0 to pass.
I'm now looking for approval of the committee's recommendation. Senator Lundred, I move to accept the employees of the division.
So,
Hearing a second, we'll now discussion. Seeing none, debate. Seeing none, all those in favor, all those opposed, all those abstaining, seeing a clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Now up for final recognition is the accessibility on campus. Hello. I'm Kimberly White, and I'm the vice president of, for those of you who don't know, accessibility on campus is focused on accessibility issues, giving students a safe place to come and talk about kind of things they face. And we're also hopefully working on some projects. One of the biggest ones that we are taking on the mapping project, which is essentially like an accessibility audit of the school.
At this semester, we have been doing the online meetings. I have a list here of 10 members who have been joining our meetings this semester, consistently. We have 60 people on the list, that's 60 people and 154 Instagram followers. Yeah. And currently we're meeting on Zoom, but we hope to move to a more hybrid situation. We have been meeting in conference in previous semesters.
Do we have any questions for the speakers?
What's the most, asked for accessibility item on campus?
Shuttle bus,
Yeah,
not shuttle bus, just like a shuttle van.
yeah.
That, I mean,
It's lots, there's lots of requests,
yeah.
all ranging in, depths of how much is needed, which is not. Are there any more questions? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
400 to pass.
Senator Delorme?
I move to approve the committee recommendation.
Second.
Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. President Tripp?
It is the intention of this club post final recognition to then apply to become a rep board.
Yes,
Gotcha.
Yes, we're figuring out who's the person who comes to the funds there, but.
yeah. It'll probably be me.
We'll be excited to have you.
Any more points for discussion? Seeing none, debate. Seeing none, all those in favor, all those opposed, all abstaining, seeing a clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Seeing nothing under club presentations or guest speakers, we'll now move into executive reports of the president.
Sorry, yes. Hi, guys. For old business, regarding the amnesty policy, I'll be addressing this concerns, with student life. I prefaced these conversations with Dean Gifford, and we'll be doing the same with Advisor Sudelco when we meet on Thursday. I'm also looking to solve this without an act to urge and ensure students are involved in a redraft should we get there. We'll try this first and see how it goes. Next, the press release that I spoke about our last meeting about the visit of the Orlando Town Council. I'm gonna finish that draft this week and submit it to the main campus and then also have it posted on our Instagram. I've dropped the language for that in the Senate chat, so if you wanna look at that, go there. Library proposal feedback, I got 0 feedback from you all, and I personally have little qualms with the changes. So now everything will be deferred to Senator Collmore, who's been officially added to the Library Committee of the Faculty Senate. So if you do have issues with it, or if you want to continue the conversation, Senator Collmore is your guy. Next, as for the syllabus bank, I'm working towards several meetings to move this along. The first, Senator Ricker started, and I've also begun setting up a meeting with the provost. We'll be meeting with that together. I'm also attending the October 24th GSG meeting to discuss it over with the GSG. And I'm also having coffee with the Faculty Senate President soon. So kind of all 3 spaces where things need to start moving. We will be kind of pushing them in that direction, and I'll keep you all updated as I get their feedback. Moving into new business, I had an alumni association meeting yesterday morning. We discussed student and alumni relationship building, their $5,000 grant for student engagement, and setting up a tighter relationship with student government. We're looking at hosting the final Senate meeting of the semester at Buchanan Alumni House following a student leadership ball that they want to put on. This is an investment in future university leaders, as we've discussed. When I look around the room, and I'm on the board of the Alumni Association, the Board of Visitors, even the President's Cabinet, they were student leaders when they were here. And I think that essentially what this will look like is student leaders from across campus, presidents of clubs would be invited with a +1 to kind of all get together and talk about student leadership, the state of student leadership on campus. Kind of, it'll be a good way for student leaders to intermingle with us. This is hopefully will become a semesterly thing. And then again, I think it'll be a lot of fun to have our final meeting at Buchanan. It's gorgeous there if you haven't been there. It'll be all decorated for like the holiday season, and hopefully we can get some good catering too. So all good things, keep kind of look out for that. Upcoming meetings that I have tomorrow, senior administration meeting. It's at 4 p.m. I was informed that the president will not be in attendance. She was pulled out of town, but this is the last chance for you all to raise an issue to me to bring to the remaining administrators I'll be meeting with. And the next senior administration meeting after this will be November 18th. That being said, next week I have a 2-on-2. Me and Vice President Shelmerdine will be meeting directly with President Fernie Mundy and Dean Gifford. This is something I requested for a few years, but we're finally getting into kind of implementing them, which is more intimate meetings with the president. I think it makes most sense. We only get 30 minutes. It's an hour that's split between each student government, 30 minutes for these senior administration meetings. I feel like they don't think that's enough. So hopefully this will help us kind of get more in-depth conversations across. And I'll let you know how that goes. And then finally, like I mentioned earlier, next Wednesday, I'll be having coffee with Amanda Clemmer, who's the Faculty Senate President, to talk about Syllabus Bank, but also all things UMSG and Faculty Senate. So again, if there's anything that you want me to bring up to any of those people, please let me know. And that's the end of my report.
For mine, I really enjoyed the tour that we got of Alpha, us and the executives. It was very exciting to see what this will bring for the future of our sports teams, and also happy to see that the women's locker rooms are no longer pushed away into the corner, and the men's and women's locker rooms are both equally updated. We have a meeting with Dean Gifford. Keegan and I will be in all meetings going forward that involve safety precautions and decisions used at the Alpha for the concert. I'm excited to be involved in that. I filmed a bus video with USC LeClaire, which was a lot of fun. This week, we'll be making a video about the annual call, and students can interact with us with that. I actually had to ride the bus just separate from that video, and it's actually a really nice service that I would encourage you guys to use. Keaton and I have a meeting with Dick Young, Joshua Burke, and William Bergenstein. Hopefully, and can involve Anna Herschel as well to discuss the long-term infrastructure and developing the parking configuration to maximize and use of commuter and resident parking spaces around campus and the underground utility construction project scheduled during the calendar year. We'll be getting a presentation on parking adjustments and added spaces with a timeline, which is very good to hear. Part of this conversation on our end will not only be about the expansion of parking spots, but also increased security cameras in the lots as well. I'm trying to schedule a meeting with Joe Farley as he's the connection facilities management, and I'd like to set up a better communication pathway, not only for UMSG, but also for deans, directors, and departments and PIs. This has been a problem for a while, where there's no communication once you submit a report, and I believe this transparency issue should be resolved. Today, I officially renewed my position on the Space Committee, so I'll be keeping you all updated once we have our first meeting. There's been no communication on the Accessibility Task Force. I was asked to join last week, so I'll be reaching out to ensure that conversation continues and isn't forgotten about. Keegan and I have a meeting with admin tomorrow, as he said, where I hope to further touch on these topics I've discussed. And for our conversations with administration continue about pedestrian safety precautions, I remind you all to download the Black Bear Safety app as the blue lights are being phased out, as I said in my report last week. And if you're not fulfilling your requirements, you should have gotten an email from me yesterday. If those problems aren't resolved by messaging me by end of the week, I'll be having a meeting with you. Good report. Moving on to the Vice President of Financial Affairs.
So today I wanted to do another presentation, so while Israel prepares to bring that up, I'll also give my standard report. So for today, our starting projected and allocated figure is $184,227.46. We have a return being allocated by the Society of Physics students for. Hold on, find that, but I'll put it back later. We also, no transfers, no budget lines lines added, no office budgets. For the consent agenda today, Society of Women Engineers wants $662.75 for their three of their members to go to New Orleans for a 3-day long Women in Engineering Conference. Director of Technology has requested $989.58 for some computer gears to dine computers at the office. Women's Club Basketball has requested $578.27, which is the remainder of their tier funding. In EBC, we considered men's ice hockey for $2,313.09, also the remainder of their tier funding. But their presenter couldn't make it today, so they will be presenting the next meeting we have versus next week, so bring us the week after. Then Women in Business will be here tonight for a request for $2,845.41 for their Maine Women's Conference in Portland, Maine, and they'll talk more about that. So yeah, this is your updated presentation for the next slide. And the next after that. A little good morning, everybody. I tried transitions this time, just to maybe make it better. They're pretty subtle today. I want to make them more fancy and that one. But so this is just the old one, and then note that this dark green is our unallocated figure, or what it was. Yellow stays as our compensation. Blue as sports clubs, and then student entertainment is the bright green. I want you to notice the switch of all these three as we go to the next slide. Oh, dang, it didn't get in transition. That's my bad. So we see that now our biggest is overhead. This used to be our unallocated figure. We also see that as we go down, student entertainment now has a massive budget concert. And then our allocated figure now is on the smaller side, so our third largest. And so we also can note that currently we've allocated $707,000 to student events over the course of the year. And so that's everything that's not part of like overhead that doesn't go towards student wages or our unallocated. And hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have at least $100,000 and hopefully we'll bump that up even close to $150,000. So we'll go to the next one. This is just the updated figure of like our compensation and the increase for our CDREPS wages to our total student wages. Go to the next one. This is just another closer look. See if maybe this transition works. I don't think it will. But again, no unallocated and student entertainment and the changes that we see. Okay. We see that now, again, concerts are massive. Concert is larger than our current allocated figure. General events, and other activities, now, you know, you're able to see them more after we allocate more to them. But yeah, that's the basic. And one more, I think it's the last slide. This one didn't show. I see. Are you using it on Google Slides? Yes, okay. So when Google Slides doesn't like to format my presentation, but my presentation actually shows that the real number. But this number is now like 65%, when last time it was like 80%. And so we're much ahead of our like progress for the year. But a lot of that is thanks to Dylan and the concert. So keep in mind that we should still keep on track to bring the number like up high and accordance to what we're doing. So encourage your friends and anybody who's not up to request funding, and I'll be sending an email out later this week with how anybody on campus can request funding. And so tell your friends to also check your emails. I think that's it. End of report.
We'll now be moving on to Vice President of Student Organizations. E.T. Thompson.
Oh, sorry. Did not have my report up, that's my fault, I accidentally closed it. Okay, so we had 4 clubs at SOC this week. One was rejected because they had already had GSG recognition. And I don't believe that we jointly recognize clubs, but I am still looking into that. And they may come back depending on what I find out. This week, I'm also going to hopefully get a jump on the club storage and labeling, so I can start really identifying what lockers belong to who. Also, no SOC this week because of break. End of report.
Vice President of Student Entertainment.
Hey, everyone, we have a few projects that are coming up in a month, about, one is like a month and a day from today, but. So coming up in the next month, we have ABPSC Hall's Fall Music Festival. And our partnership with CSI for Halloween weekend. So if you're interested in helping out with those or other things to do with SEC, please send me an email or come to my office hours. Also SEC meets Tuesdays 2 to 3. And then I had forgotten these in my earlier reports, but President Tripp and I were talking about it last night. And I forgot to like include like movie tickets. So I'm not gonna go back and do all the weeks, but I'll just say that like last week, we used 137 tickets, and so far this year, we've used 950 tickets. End of report.
Vice President of Student Leadership.
SLC will be Mondays from 5 to 6. If you can't make this time but still want to be involved, please let me know, as a lot of the discussions will still be in the chat. You can also Zoom in because a senator has asked me if he can, so I've just decided to open that up to anyone who wants to join. The scholarship application is still in the works, but I'm beginning to work with DOC Leclerc on advertising the scholarship. Right now, my only idea is doing like a reel that's like, look at all the buff chick wraps you could buy with $500. But if anyone has anything funnier, please let me know. I'm also tabling on Thursday in the union from around 1 to 3 or maybe 2 to 4 to get more outreach from UMSG, as well as just providing a space for students to address any concerns and ask how UMSG can help. If you're interested in helping out with tabling, let me know. And I'm flexing my office hours to do that because I will not be in on Friday. I'm gonna get out of class and start driving. Number 4.
Advisor to Student Government.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited that it's almost break for all of you as much as for me. So remember to take some time to, refresh and take a break, Egan, and relax a little bit, have a little fun. But I also just wanted to mention, I know that the counseling center has been hopping. And there's been lots of folks that have been going in there to just, get a little reoriented and feeling better. But I wanted to mention that the system purchased a trial system of a program called You Will, WILL. You go to the counseling center site, there's a telehealth option there that is paid for. It is also free, just like the counseling center. So if you find that somebody is needing to talk to someone about something, then that's another option besides the counseling center. It's gone out in a bunch of different emails, but I know that sometimes folks don't always get to the bottom of the emails, so I just wanted to mention that here. Also, if you're around on Friday before break, UMaine Athletics is having a fan fest. So that is the launch of the first on-campus hockey, which is women's at 2 and men's in the afternoon at 6, maybe, something like that. But between that, on the football field, there's going to be a free concert, food trucks, things like that. So if you are still around before you head out for break, then that will be on campus and it's free. Also wanted to mention Campus Rec has been making some changes. They are going to be closing one of their racquetball courts and redoing it. And there's going to be a powerlifting gym in that area. And there's going to be some new types of equipment that we've never had before and instruction and things of that nature. So they're pretty excited about that. They're also working on a full plunge and some other spa type things that will be available hopefully in the springtime. And that is it.
Are there any questions? Seeing that, moving on to periodic reports, starting with the Faculty Senate Student Representative.
No report.
University of Maine Board of Trustees Student Representative. Does anyone have?
No report, and actually, I'm gonna give a little bit of a report. Olivia's not here tonight because she is like real deep in all of the provost committee meetings, and like she said, she's like running on about 16 hours of those. So she'll be, I mean, we're between board of trustees meetings anyway, so if she's not here, but until the next Senate meeting after a board of trustees meeting, that's why. Because otherwise, we are expecting her to do far too much that she's not paid for. End of report.
Chair of the fair election practices.
So going into next semester, we will most likely be having Senate elections. So when we get back, not next week, but the week after that, I'll be bringing hopefully a timeline for those and some instructions on what the Senate elections will look like for next semester. And then I will also be bringing my guidelines for my FEPC revised guidelines, in 2 or 3 weeks and a report.
Does anyone have the student legal services liaison report? All right. Representative to the Graduate Student Senate.
No reports.
Orno Town Council liaison.
The Orno Town Council approved Sodexo's last 2 meetings with your license for the outline and the fall of the same. That was all that was really important to you, it's been sort of a light week, it was.
Old Town City Council liaison. Does anyone have the representative from the Military and Veteran Student Affairs report? Okay. Director of Communications, does anyone have that report? Okay. Director of Technology. University of Maine Security Representative. Or Center Undergraduate Research Liaison.
No report.
Are there any questions? President Tripp.
Do you have, for the Orno Town Council liaisons, do you know when the first Good Neighbor Committee meeting will be?
I believe tentatively it's supposed to be in November, but I don't think they've decided on it yet, so I will be communication. Yes,
And then separately, have you set up a time to meet with Shaw?
I have emailed, I haven't heard back, but I also emailed him yesterday as well.
Okay, great, so we're working on it.
Yes.
That's it.
Are there any more questions?
Not one more.
President Tripp.
Have you gotten in touch with your fellow committee member yet? Okay, I'm gonna help you do that.
Any more questions? Seeing none, moving on to reports for standing committee, starting with policy procedure.
2 policies today and no calling for tomorrow. Report.
Political activism.
I have a meeting with the head of the political science department tomorrow, and I have gone to 2 U-Vote meetings. We are doing a collaborative event, kind of a workshop on what the 2 voting problems will be, so that'll be exciting. Everyone mark your calendars for that. That will be October 23rd in this room at 6:30. There will be pizza, so that is exciting. Hopefully some cookies and drinks. And then we have started, really working on the website, and we have a strong committee this year, so our next couple of meetings are designed to work on that, so, great. That is the end.
Services.
Hello, everyone. Sorry to end the trend of shorter reports today, but this week services looked into a couple different things. To start, we talked about progression of speed humps. Currently, there are already 2 speed humps within person storage. They're looking to get them actually used. UMPD is currently focused on issues regarding prohibited dysfunctional cameras on the south side of campus, specifically around Arista and Kennebec. Senator Inman and I have discussed potentially meeting with UMPD to hopefully address that issue. She also started a committee that made parking lines, Hilltop Lot, and handicap spots on like Shibels. Last area of conversation was about a potential services project. We would like to hold a night walk event with student body, services members, or just UMSG members, and hopefully accessibility on campus, collaborates and walking around campus to help out areas of accessibility concern, broken streetlights, and parking lines, bike applications, and much more. If you're interested in this project, please come to services this Thursday from 4:30 to 5:30. It's a nice and reward.
Academic affairs.
Yeah, so this meeting, they were involved in another affairs meeting, just because I have something else. Generally speaking, academic affairs meetings will be 12 to 1 on Fridays, and unfortunately, one meetings together, the trust not to get involved.
Besides meetings, I've also been meeting with like, I'm really talked to myself tomorrow to go over the first next process, also like set the meeting as set by President Tripp with meet with the vice presidents to talk about that. And yeah, just really trying to make sure that some of a lot of the key stakeholders on the same page, getting this forefront. That's in my plan.
Are there any questions? President Tripp?
For Senator Rickert, do you have everything you need for your meeting with Marzilli? Yep, okay, just making sure.
Any more questions? Senator Chapin?
Did you say there was no academic affairs meeting this week?
Yeah, not this week.
Okay.
Any more questions? President Tripp?
And no, it's not a question, and I will follow up meeting like we're supposed to.
All right, we'll be moving on to reports of special committees, starting with the Holistic Health and Wellness Committee.
Hi, everybody. We kind of had a big brainstorming session at our last meeting. We've also been invited to participate in the annual Healthy Sex Casino that Swell puts on every year. We're gonna be running the mocktail table. That is November 13th from 6 to 9 p.m. If we're interested in participating in any of that. You can also just go to the event, and that'll be fun and cool. We are looking into the feasibility of running like a mini mental health survey to kind of get like a temperature check on where students are at, what they're looking for more information on, resources, whatnot, and we're looking at maybe doing some tabling sessions in the union. We're proud about that, as well as some social media stuff. We also are looking at doing kind of like a homesickness event similar to our like Hues of Home from last year, where we did this big collaborative art piece, and maybe do something similar like that. If you're interested in learning or participating or helping further brainstorm and plan any of that, we won't have mental health committee this week because of break. Break is gonna cut over that. But we'll probably send out a couple of polls in the chat. End of report.
Student dining affairs? Does anyone have that report? All right. Undergraduate student symposium?
Meetings are from 12 to 1 on Mondays at the Wells Pavilion. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please come and voice them. End of report.
Are there any questions?
What was the meeting time?
12 to 1 on Mondays.
Where?
The Wells Pavilion.
Wells.
Are there any more questions? Right, moving on to representative board reports, starting with Interfraternity Council.
Greek week had to be pushed because of scheduling issues, so we're doing that the week coming up to homecoming, the week of the 23rd. And then I have plans to organize bi-weekly roundtable meetings with my exec and presidents of every individual fraternity chapter to create a space for conversations that don't necessarily happen at IFC meetings. The idea is that like no faculty will be there to create that space and look to create a positive change and pivot the Greek culture to be a little bit more positive. New member education training is tomorrow, 6 o'clock, and then roughly 175 new members have signed with across all chapters. And report.
Does anyone have the Panhellenic report? Okay. Does anyone have the Student Athletic Advisory Council report? I do.
We had a meeting last night, where we worked on submitting an application to the America East Helping Hands grant. We're hoping to run a community event next semester. And that'll take up a lot of our meetings going forward. And we're also currently in a food drive competition against all the other schools in America East. And at the end, we donate all the items to local food banks and the Black Bear Exchange. We're partnering with local elementary schools to get donations, but if anyone has any ideas on how we can get donations, please let me know. I think we need to get creative this year to win. So please let me know. End of report.
Senior Class Council?
Hi everyone, so our bake sale is happening this Thursday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the Union. Stop by, we'll have a lot of really yummy goodies such as peanut butter buckeyes and pumpkin pies and mini pumpkin bread loaves. We also have gingerbread cookies and a few other things. So stop by, grab something, help support us. We sent out the poll allowing members of the senior class to vote on the logos and types of merch they'd like to see class council purchase over the next year. We received almost 200 responses, which was outstanding. I did not expect nearly that number. We met with Colleen from University Promotions today, so
that merge mockups they're underway and pre-order forms will hopefully be out within the next month. Another reminder about SOPA monitors for our fall gala on Saturday, November 8th from 8 to 11 in Buchanan. If you know of anyone that's maybe still looking for volunteer hours, and they'll contact me, they get a free ticket to the event. And then finally, we have 214 days left until graduation and report.
Sustainability Environmental Action Divisions.
We started, we sponsored the Confidential Center by Katie Tim to the City of Friends. The department had over 35 people in attendance. We hope to have a workshop the next week in collaboration with the Maine Youth Climate Action Coalition to teach students about how legislation was passed. I think
Are there any questions? President Tripp?
I have a few. First, for the Vice President of Student Organizations, any update on the honors SAB in their rep?
No.
Not at all.
Heard from them.
Understood.
It's at the faculty level right now, is the best I can say.
At the faculty level, what does that mean?
Because they're invested in rebranding the SAB to be an advisory board, and so they're trying to figure out what that would look like.
They just changed the activity board, like within our lifetime, okay? Do you have more to say?
Yeah, so it's more that because it fell apart, they're working on how to make it something that would last past, like, say, you know, someone leaving or a president leaving, like when Amanda left, the whole thing fell apart. So that obviously there wasn't longevity there, so they're working on that as well. There has been student collaboration, myself and the other remaining officer of the club. They have been working a lot to figure out where to take that and how to do that beyond, you know, just maintain meal pack out, because obviously that's not the only goal.
So active progress, great.
President Tripp?
For our kind of ad hoc SAC rep, do they intend to send a representative?
So, the representative who was supposed to do it this semester quit.
Right.
And the other rep who's supposed to do it next semester is gonna show up when he can, and then like he just sends me that we talked about the information that we want to share with you guys. But he's on the football team in his meetings all the time, so he said he would just show up when he can, and they kind of asked me to basically depends. Which isn't ideal.
It's not ideal, and if we're paying these people to do these things, like it needs to, frankly, what I'm saying is that either they need to intend to start sending their own representative or fill that, or they need to lose reporting privileges to the Senate. That's my take.
Yeah, I told him, I said, I was like, you guys need to not get, I said that to our staff presidents, but they. I'll try.
Maybe set up a meeting that I can come to.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah, that's good.
Cool. And then for the senior class representative, can you send us any sort of flyers to help you with, I'm sure you already posted something about the bake sale, yeah?
Yes, no worries.
Okay, we'll repost that if we haven't already.
Yes.
But what about maybe some, do you have some a flyer or something about the sober monitor help that we can push as well?
So, no, right now we need only one more silver monitor,
Okay.
so it's not super pressing, and we do have capacity to push to like our own clubs. So I'm not super worried about it, I have full confidence that we will fill that last position.
Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure you're being supported. That's it.
Are there any more questions? Vicky Ball?
Just for the IFC rep, quick question, you said that Greek Week kind of didn't go as planned this year, is there anything that you or the committee is going to think in the future to prevent that from happening?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
You mentioned Greek Week kind of went awry this year, is there any actions that you or your committee are planning to take in the future to prevent that from happening?
It was a planning, scheduling issue, so yeah, it's just pretty much preparing further ahead of time.
Are there any more questions? We'll be moving on to the committee association report, starting with Shaq.
Yeah, the council had a very productive meeting on the 2nd of October. We had representatives from the Black Student Union, from the Spanish Club, the Asian student, from the Asian Student Association, from the Muslim Student Association, and for all. At this meeting, we discussed moving into the Friends and Family Feast and how we can follow a timeline made for us by Anila with OCC for how to really make that happen in the most efficient way. I also had a really productive meeting with ISA, very inspiring, and I look forward to working with them over there.
to see how we can better incorporate international students and with the Student Heritage Alliance Council. We also discussed a major push with Shaq for this academic year to expand this to all students on campus, so that hopefully we may be able to promote the creation of even more cultural groups, which I think would be in the campus's interest. And yeah, end of report.
Bob time? Isaac? Alright. If it's the pleasure of the Senate, we will enter our 5-minute recess, reconvening at 6:58. I'm now looking for approval of the consent agenda. Madam Laura?
I move to.
Hearing a second, if it's the pleasure of Senate, that is adopted. Seeing nothing under unfinished business, we'll start with new business, 46S EBC. 111, woman in business.
I prepared some sheets for you guys. My name is Kate Parkinson. I'm the president of Women in Business. I'm the full-time treasurer. And we would like to go to the Maine Women's Conference on October 22nd of this year. It's hosted at the Portland USF campus. It's from 8:30 in the morning to 5:30. We'll be leaving Orono at 6 a.m. And we will be stopping for dinner, but our members will be paying for themselves. Amelia's gonna go over the price breakdown for you.
So our total attendee is gonna be 21 people. It's gonna be 19 of our members who are all students and then 2 faculty. And the faculty will be paid from business school, not for you guys, it's student stuff. But one ticket is $203.42. In total, that's about $4,272. That number is different than what's on your guys' paper, but I have the official number. So we did get a discount solidified on Friday for a 30% discount for every ticket, which brings us to $2,990 for all of the options. So our transportation is from the University of Maine motor pool. It's gonna be 2 of the 12 passenger vans. The driver is gonna both be faculty from the business school. One's gonna be Atria LaRose, and she is our club advisor. Another will be Julie Van Steenberg, who also works in the business school. And their total capacity will be 24. And one member we do have driving himself, it's not separate, but the total with vans is $3,130. But today, from you guys, they're asking for $1,080 from student government, cover 9 tickets. And then the business school is agreed to pay the remaining $1,750, and that's.
Any questions for our speakers? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
500.
Senator Moore?
I move to accept the recommendation.
Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. Seeing none, debate. President Tripp?
I think it's great. Maybe it's a little on the nose to say, I mean, it makes sense that this proposal is so good considering the organization that you are. But we very much appreciate you seeking outside funding as well as student funding. And I think that we should 100% support this.
Senator Sparks?
Motion to amend the resolution to $1,380 instead of the current $2,845.41.
Second.
Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion on the motion, on the amendment. People.
I think change the amount for registration to 1,200, just to also keep that in mind, we can post that up. I would say that as the chair, you should take the lead. So that's. The motion, Madam Chair, I'd just like to clarify, is the motion to amend the total amount, or to amend the resolution or to act to allocate funds to women in business, 1,380, for registration at 1,200 for bands at.
Yes, that's correct, the motion.
That's great.
Are there any more discussion? On the amendment, debate? Seeing none, all those in favor for the amendment? All those opposed? All those abstaining? Seeing the majority of the affirmative, that passes. Now back to the main motion as amended. Any more debate? Seeing none, all those in favor for the amended motion? All those opposed? All those abstaining? Seeing a clear majority in the affirmative, that passes as amended. Moving on to 46S, POL 109, an action to establish titling and designation.
I think this is quite literally the longest debated thing ever.
Literally my favorite.
Which one's the third sponsor? That or one,
Fire.
All right. I'm not going to talk about anything we don't already know. This is IOTA. We've seen it in several different forms, several different ways. This version, from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, requires titling. The changes that have been made are that it has given an outline. If you scroll down to the bold part. These are what, all right. Almost. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Oh. But, okay, so essentially what this version does, that the previous versions have not, is that it outlines what can be a title. I believe this excludes funding requests for under $1,000, which is the general threshold for consent agendas. And Act 2 will function as the title. This also includes a little stipulation that allows the sponsor line to be optional in the event that there is no sponsor. To me, that just makes sense. And that this is the full resolution that people wanted to see. Yeah. We know we don't necessarily love it. So I guess it's up to you to please put this to rest tonight.
Sorry, do you want?
Anything else to add?
So we took into all of the opinions, and especially our VPS FA came to the meeting as well, and this is what we decided was a fair compromise for titles. And this is what the committee believes is the best way to go forward with this, and that's it.
Do you have any questions for our speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
502 off pass out of amendment.
I'm now looking for approval of the committee's recommendation. Senator St. Pierre.
I move to approve the recommendation.
Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. Seeing none, debate.
Like Senator Sparks said, I did attend the meeting. I did leave a little bit before it was decided. When I left, it was at $3,000 was the threshold. I understand the $1,000. I understand that. But one other recommendations that I'd given at Polypro was that this just be optional for at least a semester or for a year and come under review. We haven't been titling before, right? IOTA is the first resolution that is titled. I think that we can definitely find a format that works well if we give it at least a semester, the remainder of the semester, when we put forward resolutions so that we can find what works best. So I encourage that it be optional. That doesn't mean that I'm not gonna do titles. I wanna figure out what title works best for us to write it and for it to be published in Senate in a way that best works in order to avoid redundancy, but to keep clarity. So I wanna work with that, and I'd like it if it was optional so that we can figure out what's best, at least for a period of time.
Any more points for debate?
motion to add an E to the whereas after the R and the last whereas.
Do I hear your second? Second. Hearing second, and we'll now.
What that was.
Adding E to the last whereas after the R.
If it's on a whereas thing, it has no genuine function and we should not waste time on it. It's like whereas the word, forget about it, please.
So I will ignore your motion. Any more points for debate? Senator Sparks.
Originally, when this was submitted by President Trump, it was optional and titled Toyota optional. With the optional in front of it, and the committee decided the reasoning was kind of more wide weight. We would like to enact this now to further the organization system that we're trying to put in place here. That was kind of the reasoning for why it's no longer optional and it is required.
Senator Chapin.
I would also like to add that part of the reasoning on why we got rid of the optional was because if we allow titles to be entirely optional, it just seems like a waste of a bill. It seems like a very redundant bill. It serves no actual purpose because people can just go, well, it's optional, so I'm not gonna title my bill. And then we can't really discover what does work as a title if nobody titles the bill. So we decided to get rid of the optional section and make it required to, yeah.
Senator Moore.
I think one thing to think about is that we are a third of the way through the semester so far. And like what we've passed already hasn't been under this formatting. So like we're not starting where like this was the precedent. So I think it might be beneficial to like BPFA, Roland was saying, take it, make it optional, and then see where it's gotten us by the end of the semester. Maybe talk to Pam and other people that are constantly working with this file system and get actual either quantitative or like subjective reports about how this might have improved efficiency and searchability.
VP Lehman.
I think a senator should add a stipulation that this policy is reviewed at the end of the year, so that way we can really see how effective it was and if it actually created things it sought to create or if it just got in the way of things.
To Senator Chapin's point, I think I'm the main dissenter in this, and I give you my word, and you impeach me if I don't follow it. That I will be titling my resolutions, even if it's optional, as long as they meet the stipulations that are in there.
Senator Gordon.
We're on you.
Yes, you.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, I don't think there would be any, if we do make it optional, and we've already heard that people are gonna do it anyway, there's no reason to make it optional in the first place, and a waste of time to make it sent back. If we already agree that everyone's going to follow it, then we will automatically get more data and more information by making everyone do it, and then we can reinvestigate it after the semester's already passed.
President Trent.
I guess I'm in the camp that I think it should pass as is requiring the thing. I think that it is totally okay and within general precedent that we add a stipulation that we review it. And what I would say to the VPFA, I will ensure that I am readily available to help you figure it out in a timely manner, if that helps at all. And that is I kind of led this thing, again, this is how I've always wanted it to pass from the beginning. I submitted an optional one so that the Senate could deconstruct it rather than construct it, which is kind of where we are. Feel like this is the consensus, but again, I guess we'll find out.
Senator.
Yeah, I understand entirely to make it like less forced against the at the end of the year. But what I do much caution with making it optional thing, because I've been Senate for quite a while. And I do think that a lot of it is very much so kind of a Senate cultural thing. But if we have like a graduating year, where a lot of people who actually like send a lot of resolutions want to graduate, and then in future years, the new senators who are in there maybe doesn't recognize that they should be titling their bills, and that's an option. So I definitely think that forcing us to confront it later in the year is definitely better than making it optional all the way through, if that makes sense.
My stance for optionality is more so that we can figure out a format, right? One of the big things is that if it was required, There should be a format, but I think that, like, we don't know what format works well. We think we know what formats work well, but we haven't actually practiced any of it yet. And so we might find that it doesn't actually work or there's something that works better. And so optionality right now, with changing in the future means that, okay, now we get a trial run of the semester where we're like, maybe if we put it in this format, it works better than the format that we have listed here. And so just that changes why I want it, just to clarify.
Senator Sparks?
So I was the person who wrote the stipulations on how to title a document. I wrote it in a way, it looks like it has a lot of words, but what actually it's stating is, please only put relevant information in your titles and don't put any unwarranted things in your titles. It's just a really long way to say that, so I feel there's a lot of wiggle room in your titling, and I don't think that there's too much restriction.
Senator Elliott?
I think if the committees come up with formats that they follow and they decide they're not working, there's no reason they can't, like, they're not being held to a format. For any students passes, like the format can still change with it being required. I don't see that being an issue.
Any other points for debate? Amy Thompson?
I think a senator should motion that this is reviewed at the end of the year, even if we pass it exactly as it is.
And Senator Kumar?
I make the motion to add a stipulation in, this, that it will be reviewed at the end of the year, or at the end of the semester, end of the year.
Point of order, that would be a motion to add a resolve section.
I motion to add a resolve section that says, this will be reviewed at the end of. Do you think it would be better than? I think it should be faster, so lost.
For God's sakes, May, please.
May, at the the second to last meeting of the year.
Do I hear a second? Second. Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. Seeing none debate. President Treasurer.
I think this is the way that we get this through.
Okay, any more points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed, all abstaining, seeing a clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Now back to the amended motion. Any more points for debate? Senator Sparks.
Motion previous.
Second.
Hearing a second,
All those in favor.
all those in favor of moving to previous, all those opposed, all abstaining, seeing a clear majority in the affirmative to moving to previous. All right, we are now voting on the amended motion. All those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority in the affirmative, that passes as amended.
Yeah, I have.
We'll now be moving on to 46S, POL, establish the voter involvement and education committee as a special committee within the general student senate.
Hello, everyone. So I talked about this at the beginning of the year. We worked on it as a committee, and I worked with Senator Sparks to kind of go through my second draft. And so I really like what this says, but overall, it kind of establishes the reasons why this committee is necessary. It talks about the whereas section is that voting rates among Generation Z remain lower than those in older age groups, as according to studies done, 47% of eligible Gen Z voters participated in the 2024 presidential election, and only 28% in the 2022 midterm elections. And the committee hasn't had a really defined role or scope in the past. I know that from experience. I got there, I had no idea what was expected of me besides you vote in the fall, and it was the spring. So it didn't really help me much. So this does that. It establishes that we will work to establish and maintain relationships with UVote, which I am already doing, as well as with the political science department, which I am already doing. So it'll just maintain that we continue these relationships, as well as collaborate on the website. There is no specific resolve in here to establish or maintain to establish or maintain the website, as it's not up yet, and so I feel like that would be unfair if, say, something happens in the future. I don't want this in this yet, and I will probably pass something in the future to make it that the committee also maintains the website, but that's a separate thing in the future once that's up, which we'll be doing in the next couple of weeks.
Alright, do we have any questions? President Trent?
The things that you outlined here are things that the committee is already doing, correct?
This is
And the work that you put into this was working with the committee, several drafts of this to decide the direction of.
Yeah, I wrote it myself while working, and then drafted it, you understand? Yeah, it was drafted, and then I worked on it with the committee, and then I worked on it separately with Senator Sparks.
Right.
Any more questions for our speaker? VP Ball.
This is a yes or no question. Is there any reason why the political activism fund as stands could not accomplish the goals that you set out for the voter enrollment and education committees?
Yeah, so my understanding of what that committee was, and by the title, because it's really all I had. And also the precedence was that we would be working with those political clubs. That is what the title says. It is political activism, i.e. working with the political activism clubs on campus. We don't do that. That's what the title says. And the title itself sadly leads people to think in a partisan manner that we will be engaging in, partisan politics, which we're not. That's a big part of it really is the name change, but also like we have established in the past, we can't find any of these documents that establish these in the past. I would like there to be one that outlines what you do in this committee so that the next chair can find this, and also it establishes the new name and removes us from the last one, which had some negative connotations among the political clubs. Part of my committee, last year was discussing how the name was having some issues with that. We didn't really do anything about it. I didn't think about it until the summer. And then this year we talked about how this name, I worked on that with President Tripp. This name might sound better, and these goals will work better in case we work with it together.
Senator Sparks?
What type of partisanship do you believe that the name implies right now?
What side? That is totally up to the people that are reading it. I think most people would think that. I'm not saying it's the side of partisanship. I'm not saying that the name leads you to believe it's Republican or Democrat or Independent or Green Party or whatever else is there. I'm saying that it leads you to believe that there is some of that there in the first place. I mean, that's the definitions of those names. Yeah, of those words.
President Tripp?
Point of information, this was a conversation we did have, and it did, just trying to get the point across. This gives, I feel like, is more indicative of what the work that student government should be doing. We should be leaving political activism to other people. And I think that that's kind of what we're trying to accomplish with the name change and redirection is genuinely that we want the role of how we interact with political goings on campus to change.
Any more questions?
I just have a quick, just to clarify, that is the goal of this committee. That's kind of why the name is there. It is to get people involved and to educate them on these issues. We want to hopefully after Thanksgiving do our own workshop to discuss what I think we decided on how to be an informed voter. And so it's things like those, that's the whole goal of the committee, and that is not what the goal of the last iteration of this committee was.
Any more questions for our speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
Alright, I was adding the amendment. 5-0, wait.
I'm now looking to pass. I'm now looking for approval. Senator Warren.
To move to approve the committee's recommendation.
Second.
Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. Seeing none, debate. Senator Sparks.
I believe that this should not pass for a couple reasons. I believe that the title change is the only change that should be made right now, and that's a whole other resolution that we can be made. for a couple of different reasons, but right now, everything that has been outlined in this document can be done right now. And I believe that the point of how we present ourselves to the student body is a very, very important point, and I do believe that we should change the name of political activism. However, the rest of the things outlined in the document, I don't believe there's a need for it to be outlined in policy quite yet, because there are a lot of things that can happen in the next semester, with everything still being so new. And I believe that there will be changes to this, and because it's not set in stone quite yet, I don't believe we should change the policy.
Senator Collmore?
So I would like to go against that stance and say that I think it is absolutely necessary. Yes, these things are up in the air. The maintaining and establishing part of this resolution requires our ability to be fluid with these organizations. I assume this committee will remain, hopefully, past Professor Brewer being the head of the political science department. If he would like a different relationship than what I have already established with him, if anybody would like a different relationship with this committee than what has been established now, I'm not gonna write a set in stone version of that because it might not work in the future. Not only that, I agree the stuff is already being done. I made that clear. It's kind of by my own kind of vibes with the committee, and I would like it to be set. Yet again, nobody can find these documents. I would like to see it, I can't, so this is that document.
Senator Chapin?
This also just kind of clarifies what this committee would do. Senator Collmore said, the political activism committee in the past tried to work with the political groups. It did not go phenomenally, but changing the name and clarifying what this committee sets out to do kind of will prevent these mistakes of the past from rearing their ugly head in the future.
President Trip?
Probably, I think the things that are outlined in this resolution, student government has a vested interest in maintaining these things in these relationships that in the past have not been maintained. We outline descriptions of committees for every committee. This is how we do it for everything. We've passed several acts in the recent future, holistic health, for instance, that does this stuff. It's about creating an outline and a springboard for the next people. It's all suggestive language. We've gone through it. And like Jeremy said, it says maintain a relationship. It doesn't say what type of relationship. It still gives the committee itself a lot of leeway to decide where that is. But in terms of I also believe that this is a shift towards the way that we should be interacting with political activism on this campus. It should be educational. It should be our job is to forward good information. And I just think that this does more than what is being led on, which is that it changes the direction of our interaction with political activism on this campus, not even necessarily away from something, but towards where we should be, which is good arbiters of factual, nonpartisan information.
People.
So I had a long conversation with President Tripp today about just this resolution and the approach to it. I originally had very similar feelings to Senator Sparks towards it, where I felt that everything that it's trying to accomplish can be accomplished without policy. But I do understand your point that it is like the title led to ambiguity. And so having a title that leads them so that anybody who takes over the role in the future doesn't just have a title to work on, and the title being ambiguous is a benefit. I also feel that as we move towards the future, I think there's a goal of having some compendium, I think that's the word, of all of the committees and what they do. And I feel that this, because it can't be found and it would be a lot of work to try and go through all the actual paper files and find a resolution that set out what TAC originally did. I actually kind of changed my mind and I'm in favor of this going through now with the name change. I feel like bringing it back down to a special committee also makes it so that now we kind of understand that there are goals that it's working towards and it can be evaluated based on how it works towards those goals.
Senator Sparks?
I agree that we need to we need to put things in policy. One of my projects is to make a document that shows all of the committee policies. And so this at some point should be done. I just don't believe that this should be done now. You're only halfway through the semester. Jeremy is not going to be leaving this semester anytime soon, at least till next semester. I'm watching you. So, which is why I don't believe that this should be sent through now. I believe, given that we have the time to let the political activism committee keep going with its current leadership, I don't see the need to rush this now when we have the end of the semester to put this through for the next chair who chairs the committee. So, and I'm not against this resolution in its whole. I'm against it getting sent through right now. And I think that it should be revisited at the end of this semester.
President Tripp?
While I'm sympathetic to the thought, I think that, again, I'm in the camp of like, why wait? Why wait to rebrand the thing that we want to rebrand and intend to rebrand? Point of information, if you don't know, special committees already have to be reviewed at the end of the year. So you don't even have to put a stipulation in this that we will review this once again at the end of the year. And again, I guess another point to the Polypro chair would be, I don't know how you put together a committee composition of all the committees and what they do without having a document that outlines what they do. This is a step in the right direction. And the things that it outlines are not written in a way that is so constraining that they have to be done one way. And B, the two things that are written out there, the U-vote relationship and the relationship with the chair of the political science department is something that we have a vested interest in and should not wait on instituting, period. And that's my final debate.
Senator Chapin?
I am motioning to amend the bill to read standing committee instead of special committee.
Do I hear a second? Okay. Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. Any discussion? Senator Conmore?
Hey all, I apologize, I know that was kind of the thing, hit your hand up for a while there. I made a mistake. It was an accident, I thought I wrote it, someone must have also said the word special while I was typing this sentence out, and I wrote the word special, so I apologize.
I'm against this being standing committee.
That's just a discussion.
President Trey?
My thing is that with this being the destruction of one committee and the creation of another, this is the process that all new committees go through, is that they start as special committees. That is my discussion.
Cool, that works for me.
Senator Sparks?
I also believe that. As I would oppose the original though, I'm even more opposed to making it.
Debate.
That's a debate.
Oh, nuts.
Mine was just discussion. All I said was that this is the normal way that committees go through.
Vicky Fang?
To add on to President Tripp's discussion, standing committees are committees unless a resolution goes through, where special committees have to be reviewed by the Policy and Procedure Committee as well as Senate at the end of session of the year.
This is the year.
The academic year.
Yeah. Which is also technically, oh, no, you're right, my bad.
Senator Collmore?
Sorry, I didn't realize that, thank you, yeah, that makes sense.
Senator Sparks?
Also, the difference between a standing committee and a special committee is standing committees can send through their own resolutions and they don't have to go through a separate committee. That's also a difference between standing and special.
Any more points for discussion? President Tripp?
That being said, standing committees can only pass through resolutions that are directly pertinent to their committees, and pretty much everybody but Polypro can only put through acts to urges. Because otherwise it would be a policy change and fall under the jurisdiction of Polypro.
Any more points for discussion? Seeing none, debate. President Tripp?
I think this is incorrect and we should pass it as is and not amend it.
Senator Collmore?
I agree, we should just kill this.
Just the amendment.
Yeah, the amendment. We're talking about the amendment, we're debating the amendment.
Any more points for debate on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority in the negative, that fails.
Sorry.
We're now looking back on the main motion. Any more points for debate? Seeing President Tripp.
Actually, point of privilege. Point of privilege. I appreciate how thoughtful we have all been about the policy of student government. There were years where I couldn't get anybody to care, and genuinely, this is my favorite part. That's my.
Great.
Sorry. Any more points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Seeing nothing left under new business or main motions or executive session, we'll now move into special orders announcement for any member of MSG to address the GS for no more than 5 minutes. Consider count.
So next week, next Friday, to be specific, I would tell you guys again, but I don't think we have Senate next week. The annual March Against Domestic Violence is the 12th annual one that we've had on campus. This is a really important event. We're going to be honoring the 11 individuals we've lost in the Penobscot County specifically to domestic violence in the last 5 years, because the state of Maine hasn't released their data on total domestic violence deaths, unfortunately, and I believe that that number is still ever growing. Domestic violence is a really important issue in this state and many others. Tell your friends, bring everybody. It's gonna be fun, it's going to be somber, and it's going to be community building, and that again is next Friday, October 17th at 5 p.m. on the mall.
President Tripp.
A few things. First, I want you all to know, and I want to reiterate, that my office hours are open to you as well. We've been having a lot of conversations within the executive team, specifically myself and VP Fang, about the years and decade-long disconnect between senators and executives. If you weren't here 3 years ago, you wouldn't have any idea how far we have come. But that said, I want you to know that I'm also your president, and I want to be able to work for you all as well. So if you ever want to just set up a meeting with me, lunch with me, that would be fun. I would love to do that and talk through anything and ideas that you have, confusions that you're working through. Come yell at me. I'll take it all, truly. The next thing is that we don't have Senate next week, so just keep that in mind. And also we have coming up, which meeting is before Halloween? Is that the 24th? Am I making that number up? 23rd. How many? Anybody? 22nd?
No, 21st is a meeting, and the one right before Halloween is the 28th.
All right, on the 28th will be our Halloween meeting. I'm kind of stepping on VP Shelmerdine's toes maybe a little bit, but I want to give you further heads up than we normally do, which is that the dress code will be dropped if you come wear a costume. Myself and Senator Cowan, I believe, have a costume picked out already. So I encourage you to start considering that, not just for Senate, but also, I know we all forget to consider costumes for Halloween and then I'll get stressed out, at least I do. So know that's right around the corner. And that's it.
Lori, I'd like to ask a question of President Tripp. We make it a contest and then I'll be the judge and I will give you a prize that I won't tell you until it's that night.
Raise your hand if you're okay with Lori being the judge if she brings the prize.
Are execs allowed to vote?
No.
Everyone,
Hey, you're the judge.
I'm the judge.
Okay.
Okay.
Madam Chair, is the dress code waived if you don't wear a costume or only if you wear a costume?
Only if you wear a costume.
And I'll decide whether it's a costume.
Just a reminder for everybody that I have missed a few numbers in my report. The report for Society of Physics that we allocated was $287.27. And the percentage of the unallocated that was used, that was in the presentation, or wasn't actually in the presentation, is 64.9% of our unallocated has been already allocated.
VP Thompson.
As you guys may know, we've been going to Wells after meetings this week, but the meeting has been so short that I think we should all go to Fam Dog to get some good burgers.
President Tripp.
Raise your hand. Now, if the debate was Wells or Fam Dog, raise your hand if you would go to Wells now.
It's allowed to vote?
Execs are obviously allowed to vote.
Except you.
Just clarify.
Except for Dylan, because he's not invited. All right. Raise your hand. Fam Dog, raise your hand. Fam Dog wins. I will give people rides to Fam Dog if they'd like.
I also space in my phone.
Any more orders or announcements?
Lavender Pride March this Friday, 12th.
People, it's a collaborative event, this is Wildstein Drive On, the new drag club on campus, and Triota. They will also be raising money for the Equality Community Center, a queer nonprofit in Portland, Maine. They will also be tabling tomorrow and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the Union, so if you want a little cookie that may or may not be baked by yours truly, it is. Or like a little crocheted thing or whatever, and you wanna give some money to charity, that's your opportunity.
Any more announcements? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the final roll?
Keegan Tripp,
Here.
Cynthia Schoenberg, here, Joshua Ball,
Here.
Dylan Lehman, Jordan Thompson,
Here.
Nick Bang,
Here.
Jason Leclerc. Excuse, Zoe Stanley, here, Olivia Borden.
General rule, they've been excused, they're still excused, yeah.
Ezra Erica. Ray Vanderwall.
OCC one, but
Ezekiel
I
Delore.
this.
Ryan St. Lawrence.
It's like.
Dennis Stewart. Joseph Elliott.
Here.
Riley St. Pierre.
Here.
Pastor Cowan.
Here.
Briar Chapin.
Here.
Kyle Whitehead.
Here.
Elena Dana. Here. Sky Van Beek.
Excused.
Isabella Blumsgren. Here. Kayla Kearns. Dayton Warren.
Yeah.
Christian Morrow Corey. Jeremy Solomore. Jonathan Harper. Lauren DeFone. Nancy Krasinski. Here. Isabella Bankers. Alex Emery.
Here.
Jackson Gamble. Here. Sharif Abed.
Can our seat rep, did you say your last name really loud so everybody can hear?
Van Cook.
Fan Cook. Fan Cook.
I'm now looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Sorry. Hearing a second, if it's the pleasure of the Senate, that is adopted.